I saw an interview of Kamala Harris on her book tour, and she says that she thinks the voting age should be 16. Why would she say this? She says it's because that they care about housing. What 16-year-old cares about buying a house and is thinking like that, especially with social media and all this crap that's being thrown at you. I don't remember ever thinking about buying a house. You know what I thought about at 16? Getting a car, driving, maybe college. That's what I was thinking. If you thought that I was thinking about starting a family, buying a house, thinking about my retirement, you're insane. You are just out of touch with what a 16-year-old is truly thinking about. If you truly think that a 16-year-old is thinking about the housing market, maybe a couple, but overall, there's no way. I've been around high schoolers. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about what all high schoolers were thinking about. And that's getting a boyfriend, getting a girlfriend, driving, homecoming, prom. That's what they're thinking about. Do I take the ACT now? Do I take it later? What do I need to get into my college that I want to? Do I have do they have credits that would transfer if I want to go from a 2-year college to a 4-year like that's what they're thinking about. And for her to say that she wants 16-year-olds to vote, well, if they're so informed and they can make all these decisions for themselves, then why did they make the tobacco you have to be 21 to buy it? They can make an informed decision. Why don't we lower drinking to 16? If kids are so informed, can make such sound decisions, why not change smoking, drinking, marijuana, gambling? If they're just so smart, so informed, and they can just make all these decisions, it's because she's a moron and they can't. I don't think the voting age should be 18. If you can't make the decision to drink or smoke to 21, maybe voting should be moved up. I don't know, but it definitely shouldn't be lowered. And I've always thought that because Democrats wanted illegal aliens to be able to vote, now they want 16-year-olds to be able to vote. Anyone and everyone that can vote, that they can manipulate, hey, let's let them vote. But I don't know, maybe the Democrats are on a different level, or certain ones. Because I was thinking if they went after Trump about the Russia trying to get him elected and everything, knowing it wasn't true, but they went after him knowing he was going to get off. So when Joe Biden ended up beating Trump, that if anyone said that it was rigged or anything, they'd be like, oh, whatever, you guys just went after Trump, so they're just going back at you guys. And I was like, man, that's diabolical if that's how they were thinking. That is impressive. Like, you are on a different level of manipulation and sabotage than I am. I would have not thought about that. Like, after the fact, okay, like, but in the moment, like, oh, that's diabolical. And didn't we see, like, how was this woman, like, on a book tour? Like, she has a hard time stringing together sentences. How did she write a book? Like, this whole country said no to her, or 6/10 said no to her. 3/5 said no to her. But we're thinking that she has something groundbreaking in a book other than just to make money off people? I don't. I have. I. This political landscape that we're in right now is just odd. All these politicians go in very broke, and then all of a sudden they're worth 5, 10, 15, $100+ million. How is that possible? Unless they're stealing, they're lying. And the politicians are so fake to get in, and they say, like, that's one thing I thought was hilarious when Trump first got in. When he said he was going to do X, Y, and Z, and then after he was voted in, people were getting mad. Why is he doing X, Y, and Z? That's what he said he was going to do. And they're like, no, 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 no. Politicians don't do what they say. Are you crazy? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you expect politicians to lie to you. That is, like, you expect them to lie to you, and you're angry when they're not lying to you. Like, what? Like, when Missouri voted in the sports gambling online thing, that it says over 10 years, $100 million will be donated to education. Or not donated, given, or from whatever. They're going to give $10 million a year over 10 years for a grand total of $100 million to education in the state of Missouri. Which they're going to make over $100 million in a month. So, but they're looking at 120 months. They're going to give $100 million. They'll probably make that every single freaking month off these dumbasses that just sign their life and paychecks away. But then I heard that education's still going to have the same amount of money. They're really giving to the state of Missouri. So education will get $10 million a year, but the state of Missouri will take out $10 million that they're supposed to give education. So the state of Missouri will have it, so that means politicians will have it. That's what that means. So politicians in the state of Missouri are going to get $100 million over the next 10 years. And all this sports gambling that's going on, it's going to get so much worse before it gets better. And I know that there's stuff in the news about the NBA, and there's going to be stuff about the NFL, and I wasn't even thinking about that kind of stuff. I was thinking about all these young people. It's going to be a lot of young that are going to put themselves in a situation where they might do something stupid because they're so far in debt with gambling. Because if you try to be a police officer or any kind of federal agent or something like that, they want to know, are you in debt? Because that's a very easy way to manipulate someone. If you hold their debt over them. I mean, you see it in movies all the time, and they get it from somewhere, where the mob, they're in debt at a casino or something, and so they make them do stupid stuff and crooked stuff and help them. And yeah, that's an exaggeration in a lot of cases, but people do stupid things when they get in stupid situations, which is gambling. And so many people say that sports, they don't care except for the gambling aspect. Then how good are sports really? If all you care is about the gambling of them and trying to make money, There's a reason why casinos, all these betting platforms, FanDuel, DraftKings, and all this other stuff, there's a reason why they stay in business. Because they all make money. That means there's more losers than winners. Casinos basically have a license to print money because when people go there, they lose. When people bet on sports, they lose. And it's that dopamine high from one win. So I went up to Canada when I was 20, and the gambling age then, I don't know what it is now, but then it was 19. So me and my friend, he lived in Detroit, we went up to Canada, we went gambling, and we each won like $600-800 playing blackjack. We were on cloud nine. Just, oh yeah, we got this, we're so good. So when I turned 21, within 10 minutes, I had lost $300 playing blackjack. I'm like, apparently I'm not as good as I thought. And overall, I've definitely lost money, even with that windfall. Because everyone always talks about, well, I won $600, $700 at the casino. I was like, but what did it take to get you that? So if you lose $200 and I won $700, that means you didn't win $700. You won $500. Or people tell you just about their winning, and then they don't tell the 12 times that they lost hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, and then they tell you about that one time winning. That's what people do. And it's just such a slippery slope. And the devil has his hooks in people, and I know I made a video about the devil, and God's already won, Christians have already won, Jesus, he's won. But people are going to suffer. And I don't want that. I don't like to see people suffer. I don't understand the person that they're not feeling good, they're feeling down about themselves, so they drag people down to their level and want to make them feel bad. I don't understand that. That's a very foreign way to think to me. If I am not feeling all that great and a little down and stuff, I just don't want to be around people. I want to be left alone. I'll get my mind right. Boom, I'll go around people again, and I enjoy giving compliments and cheering people up and making them feel good about themselves. I feel that is just so much better than making people feel worse so I feel better. Like, it does not make me feel better at all. And the politicians, how they say whatever they want or say what everyone wants to hear. I see a lot of people on YouTube, only YouTube, because I'll see videos on YouTube of people being ridiculous, and I know it happens. But so many people will basically sell their soul to try to be quote-unquote famous or popular for a minute or two, get views, and because I know online, like, cussing really sells. People like that a lot. If you say you're transitioning, people really will click on that. If you said you've been hated on for being a transgender person, that'll get you a ton of views. If you're gay and you've been hated on, oh, that'll get you a ton of views. If you act like an absolute moron, that'll get you a whole bunch of views. If you scream all the time, that'll get you a whole bunch of views. And then I see certain people that will act a certain way around others, and then they're on their platform, they act a completely different way, but then someone else comes on their platform and they act completely different, and That just means you're so insecure. You need people to like you. You you crave it. And if you're beholden to it, then that means it controls you. So that is your idol. That's what you worship. People's opinion, popularity, which turns into money. That's most of the time because people are like, oh, I want power. Well, money is power. If you have enough of it, you can change a lot. Be true to yourself. Don't change because you're around a certain person and then you act a certain way, then you're around someone else, you act a certain way. Don't be like that. And like most of my videos, if you're walking with God, you do not need to act differently around others. I am who I am around my mom, my dad, my sister, friends, aunts, uncles, cousins, strangers. Don't care about the ethnicity. I'm going to use the same vernacular, speak the same way. Because I've seen some people around black people, they will basically act like they're black, and these are white people. And then they get around white people, and it's like, what the heck? You were just... I, I've seen it tons of times. Or they get around someone who's a little more Hoosierish. Boom. They act like them. And it's just like, you're so insecure. That's just all I see when I see someone act like that. Just insecurities abound. And if you're walking with God, you don't need others, so you're less insecure. I'm not saying you're not insecure at all, because you'll always have doubts. You'll always question yourself, but it'll be fleeting. Because you'll question yourself and then be like, shut up. Trust God. He's got this. Not he's going to do everything for you. Because I know growing up in church and everything, there was a lot of people that would think that they could just sit here and God will provide. It's like, you have to do something too. If you're just hoping and praying God provides for you, maybe he does. I don't know. But, I mean, that was one of the things when I was a para that the kids... I had to learn really quickly that I can't make them do their work. They have to help themselves or I can't really help them at all. And there were a couple of kids where I just walked away. I'm like, I'm good. I was like, when you want to help yourself, I will be back to help you. But I would walk away, go help other students in their classroom, and 9 times out of 10, that kid within 15 minutes is coming over to me asking for my help. And that 10th, they're just stubborn and it took a little longer. Because there were several of them that I told, I am sick and tired of caring about your grade more than you. I've done this. I know this. I am here to help you, and yet I care more about your grade than you do. So I would just walk away and I would act like I was a second teacher in the room and go help the kids where I could. And if I couldn't, I would go tell the teacher the problem and they would go help them. And then I would help the kid that they were helping because I knew how to with that child. And then they would go help the kid that I didn't know how to help them. And it was something with the assignment or some clarification, and I didn't make the assignments and stuff, so they would need the teacher. So the teacher would go help them. And the kid that I was with would almost always come over and be like, can you please help me? And I would say, absolutely. Let's go do it. Because that means they cared. They cared enough to humble themselves to come to me and ask for help. You care a little bit if you're going to humble yourself. And that's... everyone's a victim. And when you're a victim, that means you don't need to change. And when you don't need to change, you don't need to humble yourself and accept responsibility for what you did. And because Jason Whitlock talks about he says that everyone talks about self-confidence and confidence and confidence, and he's like, no, humility. Because, and I've said this before in other videos, you have to humble yourself before God. If you come to Him arrogant, self-assured, ooh, it's gonna hurt. He's gonna pop you, and you're gonna be like, oh, what the heck? And this is a very long video, longest I've ever made. And it started with Kamala Harris and saying 16-year-olds should vote. I've been around them. I've been forced to help them with their schoolwork. They've come to me crying that this person did this to them and all this other stuff. Like, there's a whole bunch of adults that I don't think should be voting because they're just not mature enough. And it's not about being necessarily like, oh, I know everything about every candidate. And no, it's having the maturity to not easily be manipulated. And not all adults have that. They are extremely manipulated. Manipulatable. They are. And it is pretty easy to manipulate people if they're worldly and they care so much about money, fame, fortune. Because, like I was saying earlier, when somebody changes who they are and what they are around different ethnic groups or different religious groups or different political groups, and they just change who they are, what they're about. Like Stephen A. He acts like a conservative when he's on conservative platforms. He acts like a Democrat when he's on Democrat platforms. Like on ESPN, he attacks Trump and he's coming for you and stuff like that when it came to the gambling stuff, but then he goes on Tucker Carlson and he's Mr. Conservative. If you've stuck around, thank you. Because this is a long one. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. I remember having my Bible out with my dad watching Evander Holyfield because that was on his trunks. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's powerful. All things. All. How can you not be a fan? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It's awesome.